here to talk about expert growth hacks for reaching undeserved markets. Please welcome our next fantastic group of speakers. Come to the stage.
Thanks, man. Hi, everybody. Can you hear us? Yes, good, thank you. So we will start with a round of intro, okay? I will introduce myself first, and then I will give our guest the words. So, been working in fintech for 20 years, originally building central stock exchange in Europe, and then a monopoly in what today we call high-frequency trading in the bond market. We basically, every bond trade in Europe got through the technology that we developed back in 2001 to 2000 currently. And I then created my own hedge fund, sold it in 2010, and started a data company that we sold in 2020 in Silicon Valley. And now we are bringing all this technology in a company called Streetbeat that democratizes access to data and tech that usually is reserved only to hedge funds. And we are now at 100,000 customers after 6 months from launch. And I will we can go from my left, and we can start from here.
Cool. Am I on? Yep. Hi, my name is Jeff Myers. I am up here. My title is the CEO of Gatsby, but Gatsby doesn't exist anymore. It was a neo brokerage that got bought by eToro and is now eToro Options. And our mission is to take options, which are traditionally relatively complex, and simplify them as much as possible so that people in this demographic that we're going to talk about can dip their toes into them and understand them and be educated and have a new tool in their portfolio.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia. I come from Money Lion. I've only been in fintech for 6 months, so I'm learning about financial services. My background is in marketing in retail. I was part of the team that launched Walmart Plus, the membership that Walmart launched about 2 years ago. And I also led the expansion of the online grocery business of Walmart and the merger of the two apps, the online grocery and general merchandise of Walmart from the marketing side. So I don't know much about financial services, but I know a lot about consumer behavior, especially across Middle America.
Thank you.
Hi, can you all hear me? Yes, I'm Gayatri Rajan. I'm the Chief Product Officer of Drive Wealth. And Cynthia is a customer of ours. So we are we've been the pioneers of fractional equities trading. And we offer a B2B platform. And we work with almost 100 innovative fintechs that use our APIs, our cloud-based APIs, to build investing experiences for retail investors, many first-time investors. Before Drive Wealth, I spent a decade and a half at Google.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Karan Sood. I'm the co-founder and CEO of SIBA West. We're in the boring business of asset management compared to some of the exciting businesses up here. We manufacture, manage, and distribute funds, so exchange-traded funds, mutual funds, retirement-focused funds. The scale in our business is somehow measured in the assets that we manage. So as of the end of last month, we managed 9.7 billion across 56 funds.
Thank you very much. So we don't have too much time, so we will go straight to the questions that I was preparing for this panel. And let's kick off by identifying which underserved market are you looking at, and how do you listen, or in any case, pay attention to their pain point? And we can proceed in the same order.
Cool. Yeah. So what I think of when we say underserved market, I typically think of this younger generation of traders that have kind of come to the markets for the first time in the past 5 or 10 years. It's a group that grew up with technology tools built by technology companies rather than finance tools built by finance companies. Google, Facebook, companies that really heavily invest in user experience and design and have airtight products where you don't ever have any issues, and the interfaces are very intuitive. And that didn't really exist in finance, we found, until very recently. And a lot of the companies on this panel are putting a lot of effort into stuff like that, including us. I think that using design really thoughtfully can take a very complicated concept and simplify it enough where you can boil it down to just the really, really critically important tool that will be powerful in someone's portfolio, even a young retail trader.
Yes, simplicity is super important. And it's very difficult to achieve, actually.
Yeah.
Not easy at all.
So at Money Lion, the customer that we target is basically the 65% of adults who don't have somebody advising them on how to manage their money. And I mean, when I joined Money Lion, I was asking myself, why, if it's 65% of the population, why isn't every financial services company trying to help them? And it sounds like the way that the businesses for big financial services companies are set up, they really target the smallest population with the largest account balances. And this is not that segment. This segment is very spread out. Their account balances may be smaller. And I don't mean to depress you, but a lot of these people live in a financial illiteracy vicious cycle that is really hard to break. They have financial problems, which stresses them out. That causes mental health problems, which in turn makes them unable to make the right financial decisions. Sometimes even if they can't keep a job, they can't get a job because their mental health is in such state, and it's super hard to break that out. What we are doing at Money Lion is we're taking some of the trends we're seeing in terms of content consumption, and we're putting that in our experience. We know that people right now love social media. They love short form content, very engaging. They love to follow financial influencers. They don't want a banker telling them what to do. They want somebody that looks like them, that speaks like them, that understands them, to be telling them what they did for their own financial lives and how they got out of any problem they have, how they got credit, how they refinanced a car, how they got a mortgage, and that's how they want to consume the content. So if you go to our app today, which has evolved a lot in the past 6 months, it feels a lot like a feed from TikTok, where because we have the information that TikTok doesn't have, we have your bank account linked, we know what you're spending money on, how often you get paid, how much money you get paid. We can actually put in front of you the right influencer-created content for you to then take action. So we're trying to do it in a way that they're already used to. They're consuming that content already. And really hoping that that's going to help them break that cycle. Everybody's trying to break that cycle, right? So we're just trying to do it in a way that they're familiar with.
Thank you.
So at Drive Wealth, as I mentioned before, we're a B2B platform. And the market we are helping and are unlocking is essentially the retail investor market that has been underserved. It's been very hard for investors globally to have access, in particular to the US stock market. And that is what we went to correct to start with. And we did that with by simplifying access. Because if you think about sort of the barriers to trading in US stocks, in the past you had high minimums, and you also needed to buy whole shares. And if you want to buy a whole share of Tesla or Google, that's not available to everybody. That's not accessible to everyone, particularly in markets outside the US. And so our innovation was to create fractional stocks. So you can buy $1 worth of Tesla or $1 worth of Google. And that gives you access, to a larger segment of the population. And this has really resonated in the market. 20% of investors that traded on our platform this year were first-time investors. But our approach has really been to work with partners like Money Lion, because we can provide the brokerage services through our APIs, but we're really counting on our customers to create those delightful, simplifying experiences, provide the educational content, because it's more than access, right? You want to also bring people to a new place in owning their financial future.
Fantastic. We almost became customer also in Streetbeat. We were missing few European markets, but maybe next round we will. And let's go ahead.
Yeah, so clearly different ways to segment the market by demographics, by geography. Quite like Gayatri, we segment the market by investor type. And so, you have what you call retail investor on one end, which is the self-directed investor making decisions for themselves or their families. And you have, on the other extreme, institutional investors, managing large pools of money. But there is this sort of mid-market, which is the financial professional, a financial advisor, or in industry speak, an intermediary that is making decisions on behalf of the end customer. So managing money for a high net worth individual or families or a collection of families. So that's the market we serve. It seems unusual that market could be underserved, but in context of the two extremes, there are situations where that market could be underserved and opens up the opportunity for us to serve that market better than it's been served. So as an example, you have the institutional market utilize derivatives very effectively, by some measures. The notional outstanding on over-the-counter derivatives is larger than the world's GDP. And so we make products and services that allow the intermediary to utilize the power of derivatives through our products. So that's one example. Another example is crypto, which is very heavy on the retail self-directed investor market. So bringing that kind of investment utilization, but to the intermediary, that's another opportunity as an example.
Great, thank you. So I'm an advisor at dozens of startups and in several accelerators in the Bay Area. And one thing that we say often is that 80% of the software that is written today it will be obsolete in 1 year. No, so the important is how not a software that never change, but a software that can be improved quickly and can be improved based on what? Based on customer feedback and based on listening to the customer. What's your cycle to improve your product based on the pains that you have been identifying? What's your process?
Yeah. I'll give two answers. One that's kind of a low-hanging fruit answer for us, because as Lule said on the previous panel, we have 30 million customers around the world. It's a social network. They're chatting with each other publicly. We can gather a lot of insights from that. So we are just in a particularly unique situation in that way. But then my product guy answer is we kind of have three pillars. User feedback, whether it's from the social feed or app store reviews or whatever, or we talk to users sometimes. We run surveys. Analytics, we see the user journey. So we see when a user gets stumped somewhere and we take that back to the table. But the third pillar, I think, is the most important, and it's informed by the other two. We trust our intuition. We try to hire really well and surround ourselves with people who have good intuition and take those two data points and factor them into the overall thesis.
Thank you. Cynthia.
I mean, besides what you did, so I don't repeat it. What we are doing is we are expanding our portfolio because the economy is changing so much that we can't really control, for example, how many people are going to be asking for a loan. And maybe last year people were into crypto, but now they're not so much, and they will probably be into crypto again. Like the financial services products that they want from us change. And what we've done is we want to offer them all. So we don't depend on one of them and are just like trying to make loans work. And we let the customers tell us via what content they're consuming on our app, what they're clicking on, what emails they are reacting to. Of course, we have the typical onboarding series where we ask them things, we collect explicit and explicit data, and from there, we personalize the life cycle that they get, the products that they see, the content that they see, but it's always evolving. I've never worked in a company that moves so fast and changes its product, like flips it in like 3 months. It's gonna look totally different based on customer feedback.
Thank you.
So we have this incredible benefit of having our customers give us feedback, right? It's pretty awesome when you have 100 different businesses that can tell you exactly what they are hearing from their investors. But like you said, Jeff, I liked your point. You start out with an intuition, you start out with a thesis. And with DriveWealth, the thesis was, let's make it really simple for investors. And oh, by the way, let's also make it really simple for our partners, because they're not experts in brokerage and they should not be. So let's abstract the complexity from them, and just give them cloud-based APIs, and then we handle all the rest. And this is particularly important in markets for fintechs outside the US. They don't understand the US regulations. It's our job to sort of take that on. So we started out with that resonated. We're seeing good growth, particularly in markets outside the US. But then that's just the beginning, right? Then you learn from our customers. So for example, one of our customers is Toss Securities in Korea. Are pioneers now, thanks to DriveWealth, of providing access to the US stock market. But there was a problem. They offer Korean securities in real-time trading, and we offer real-time trading as well, but for New York market hours. And if any of you have visited Seoul, you'll know that they're 14 hours ahead. That's like you flip night and day, right? So there was no overlap. There was less than an hour's overlap. So that made it really clear to us that we had to fix our products and offer extended hours, real-time trading during pre and post-market hours. So these things you hear from your customers, and then it actually becomes real to you. But also you realize that they are also dealing with newer challenges. So for example, the same customer now wants to offer options, and they would be, again, pioneers, or actually they'd be the next company in Korea to offer options. But the competitor, the one that is leading, has a very small number of engaged users. And so their point was, the Korean investor doesn't know how to trade options. And so there's a real challenge and an opportunity to understand how can we simplify options for a market that just doesn't understand how to trade in options. So I think our customers essentially are the source of incredible feedback, but also the kind of innovation, the spurring of innovation that makes us better.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe just to clarify, our products are actually not software products. And when we say fintech, most of us today would think tech means computer technology. But there's a lot of technology in putting together an investment product, right? And just like you have engineering going into computers, you have engineering going into finance, and so financially engineering a certain kind of product. But then to go back to your question, we do have a distribution model, which is like Gayatri, more hand-to-hand combat with selling the product to the customer. And so that offers a very good channel to get feedback from the customer, the highest bandwidth feedback channel possible from the customer. So yeah, we source a lot of our pain points from our customers directly by talking to them, disarming them with a nice cup of coffee, and then understanding what was their struggles earlier in the day. I would say that's the biggest component of how we listen to our customer. But other than that, yes, there's smart usage of data. There's a lot of flow data that we follow, like where is the money going, which assets is our investors investing in, either in response to their personal finance situations or even macroeconomic situations.
Thank you. Thank you. I was preparing for the next question that I have here. And the question is about the difference between the retail and the professionals. So how do investors and savers engage with products differently compared to more traditional and more professional investors? And how can we help them to, through education and other tools, how to behave better, maybe less gambling and more through different approach?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, so surface level, completely different ballparks, right? It's important to us to design our products so that a trader who's never traded an option contract before could come in and not feel daunted, not feel intimidated. But we also want to be able to accommodate more advanced traders. So we try to sort of not split the difference, but add layers where kind of more advanced traders can be power users. And like our first few sprints when we were Gatsby before we were eToro Options was to work with advisors of ours, professional traders, and then we kind of came in, the co-founders came in from sort of like the retail trading perspective and just stripped away everything that we could, or kind of like hid it into different buckets where if at its core, the interface just looks super clean and you can kind of stumble through a contract and get it. So I think that level of like simplicity is really important for the retail side, but you need to be able to accommodate the whole pie just to be able to, truly democratize. You need everybody to be able to find value in it.
Thank you.
I mean, I imagine they're very different. We don't serve institutional investors, but when we design our products and our experiences, our bull's eye is very much the person that sometimes needs help, so they need a loan, they need a cash advance, and sometimes they have a little bit of excess cash and they can invest it. So they go in from one place to the other, and we want to offer them products that make it easy, like our roundups, like if you have an account with us, or even if you just connect up your credit card or your debit card with us, you can round up and we invest the money for you. So there's products on both sides. But we design it in a way that it's not just for that bullseye, it's for everyone. So you can actually come and trade in our platform through a membership that we're just launching. But the core of our customer is the person that is the first time that they're investing. They are going to invest on a fraction of Tesla for sure, not $150 in it. And I think that's just staying true to who is your core and not distracting is super important for us.
Yeah, keep it simple, and it must be digital. So no forms, no phone calls. That's not what the millennial and Gen Z investor is expecting. But also make the decisioning of what to buy easy. And I think a lot of the work you're doing on providing content and education is definitely going to help. The Roundups product, again, it's a one-time decision to say, let me round up my spare change. More automated integrations with your bank account, and creating simple goals. I think that's the only way we can really not just open access to the retail investor, but make it something that they truly get value and grow wealth with. So it's very different from your people working with complicated things.
Yeah, quite markedly different. I think we're talking about financial professionals, and so it's part of their job to engage with the content of the product. So they really want to dig in deeper. They want to understand the product. They want to understand it not just in context of how they manage their clients' investments, which is probably in a portfolio context, but also how to explain it to the client, right? Because that's part of the value add they add that they want to deliver to their clients. There is a level of simplicity that is desired, but I think the simplicity is not so much. I try to make a contrast between like there's all this technology which is trying to make it simple, so you click a button and you get it. In our case, they're not looking for the clickers; they're looking for the tickers. They're looking for just a ticker for an investment product to make this execution component of it very simple, but from a content engagement perspective, they want it to be more complex. They want to dig into the complexities of the product.
All right. Thank you. And the last question, because we really have like 2 minutes left, is what unique approach are you using this coming year to reach these underserved markets fast and so grow quickly in 30 seconds.
Well, again, just to go back to one of our core differentiators, I think, is our social network. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of improvements coming to both the options social feed and what you can see others trading that are really helpful for bringing in friends and inspiring people with trade ideas, or even just getting like a sanity check before you make a trade.
Thank you. Cynthia.
I would say that our focus would be shortening the distance from learning to acting. If somebody learns about something, you have to take this advantage of this new tax law, and then they have to go and go to their bank account and take action, most of them are not going to do it. So for us, shortening the distance, you learn in our app, you take action with one click. That's what we're going to be focusing on.
Thank you, Cynthia.
I think it's continue to hone in on our differentiation and help our partners be differentiated in their markets. So that's our approach.
Yeah, I think for us is the packaging of how to package more innovative investment strategies into tickers, so that perhaps the investor in Korea, as an example, is not necessarily looking to engage in a multi-chain of options, but looking to just buy a single ticker that gives them the investment.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Just in time.
Wow.
Have a
Yeah, nice.
great rest of the day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.